you a songwriter? Are you looking to turn your songwriting passion into a full-time gig? Whether you are just at the start of your songwriting journey or a seasoned industry professional, this show is made for you. Welcome to The Songwriter Show, bringing together songwriting news, interviews, and community. Now, welcome your host, Sarantos.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and welcome back to The Songwriter Show. I'm your humble host, Sarantos, a solo music artist who's been writing lyrics forever. Words are just the world to me, and that's why I love to host this show for you every single Tuesday evening on Reality Radio 101. I believe that every song is an important story. I'm so excited to have on the show tonight Low Stakes Band. They trade polished, polite songwriting for sharp, unfiltered folk rock that says the quiet part out loud. Eric Colville and Ann Holbrook blend the lyricism of Paul Simon and John Prine with the hooks of the Byrds and Tom Petty, grounded in a true do-it-yourself spirit. Their music lives between humor and heartbreak, capturing the messy reality of being human. It's not background music, it's for people who want the truth even when it stings.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
Welcome to the show, Eric. How are you?
Thank you, Sarantos. Welcome.
Tell us a little bit about your band. Are there two people in it? Are there more of you?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
So it's interesting you ask because you say, well, it's a duo. Why is it a low stakes band? And my original idea here, having done several bands in the past, was I like to get the vocal core of a band. You know, the way it sounds, the way the harmonies work together, and have that really tight before I build out further. So Ann and I have played for about a year plus as an acoustic duo to really hone the harmonies and get that down. And at the present moment, we're building, with a bass player and a drummer, we're building out the band more. Luckily I have other songs besides the acoustic-y ones that are more rockin' or bluesy or whatever that I need more of a band for, but I'm happy to have the different kind of songs as well. So that's what I'm doing.
Okay, that's kind of cool. Was there something in particular that inspired you to start the Low Stakes Band?
Well, just as I was saying, I was tired of being Eric Colville. It's weird to go, hi, I'm Eric Colville when you have a band. It's like, I don't understand people that the band's name is their name. I've had Eric Colville Band before, but I've always liked the idea of a band and that kind of, at least a sense of partnership, even though I do most of the writing, So that's why I wanted to do a band.
Tell us about your songwriting process. Is it just you? Does she participate? Does anyone else participate? How does that work for you?
Pretty much it's always been me. I don't know why I get weird around other people. My process is very simple. I think I'm going to patent it. It's called strum and mumble. I just strum chords and I kind of, think about what I'm thinking about in the world and what matters to me and, what's been going through my head lately and see if something just falls out, which eventually it does if I do it long enough. Strangely enough, my process, a lot of times I'll think of a title, like I have a real nice title, and then I'll find something that fits that. But often I'm just strumming on guitar and humming along,
What instrument do you play?
I just play guitar, and I do play bass as well.
Okay. Does Ann play something?
Yeah, Ann plays acoustic guitar, and she does mostly singing, but she plays some parts on the acoustic guitar. And so, at first she didn't play as much acoustic guitar. We're building that out with her. So, but it was just, for a while, it's just been me on guitar and Ann singing and me singing. That was it,
Do you have like a musical memory the two of you have made that you remember the most?
Oh, a musical memory. Gosh. I guess not, because I'm struggling to find one, so I suppose not.
Okay.
I do remember once we played at some kind of a fair, and they stuck us on this church steps that was where the kind of fair was around. And I don't know what happened, but the sun was like so boiling hot that I literally borrowed an umbrella from somebody to protect the board. I was afraid it was just the sun was directly in our eyes and I couldn't see anything. And it was just the weirdest. It was like, why are we doing this? But I have no great other story than that. It was just miserable,
If you could be in a room with any musician, dead or alive, who would you pick and why?
Oh, you had to ask that question, right?
Of course I had to. I'm like that.
Oh, man, that's such a hard one, Gosh, I'd probably like to hang out with Paul Simon because he's written such amazing songs and he just does it for year after year after year. I don't know how he does it, That's my answer today. Another day it might be Paul McCartney or Sting or
Sure.
even Joel, or like Bernie Taupin. I mean, how does this guy come up with lyrics? He doesn't even have a melody. He gives a lyric sheet to Elton and he just writes us that's insanity. I don't know how people do what they do.
How often do you and Ann practice?
At first we practiced a lot, like, a couple times a week, and now we get together once a week and maybe just, a couple days before a show, for the purpose of, boning up on what are we doing in the show and have we done that song in a while, we better do it, that kind of thing, but not so much anymore. We're practicing at least once a week now, building the band up, but so it's kind of a once to twice a week right now.
Do either of you teach music at all? And if you do, has it helped you?
I used to teach guitar. I don't do it now, but it did help me a little bit. It made me think, why am I doing this? I should be working on myself. But I did find ways to help people get better at guitar because I think the one thing that I wish I'd known, there's a lot of things I wish I'd known when I'd started playing guitar and I didn't know. And it took me so long to find out. So I tried to give the students I had at the time at least a shortcut to that and say, look, all the songs are kind of the same. You just got to know they're different keys and this is how they work. And I think that helped a lot of people. But so it helped me a little too,
What do you like the least about writing lyrics?
Basically, what generally happens with me is I'll have a really inspired lyric or one or two verses that, wow, that came out easy. It sounds great. I have really nothing more to say, but the song can't quite end then. So I have to think about, okay, what else can I say here? What else can I do? And that's the first thing. The other thing is having a really great lyric and understanding that it's a really great lyric, but also understanding that you can't use it.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't, it's great, but it really isn't advancing the cause of the song. So you have to kill your babies there sometimes,
What inspired you to write the song we're going to hear, End of War?
That's interesting. So, is it okay if I play a little guitar here at all? Does that come through at all?
It might not come through as well. So, I mean...
Try this little lick, which is... You hear that? Can you hear that at all?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And it's just, it's just kind of vamping on a G chord, And it just sounded so happy. And, I had this and I kept playing and thinking there's something happy and celebratory about this. And, I like typical, I mumble and I play it and I go, what am I singing? What am I singing here? And at the time I had read my son the book called The Lorax. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah,
book.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Some kind of trees they're cutting down, which they make a profit, but if you take all the trees away, everyone's going to die and you ruin the habitat, much like the world today. And at the end of that, there was a rock left and it said, unless. I suppose the lesson was, unless you stop doing this. So put that over in bin A. And then over in bin B, I had just seen that Lynn Novak, Ken Burns, kind of a documentary called The War, which is all about World War II and the different personal stories of each of the soldiers, which was very moving. And so I kind of watched that. I'd sung that. And around that time, my son asked me, he said, what is war? Now, it's, from the mouths of babes sometimes, And I at the moment occurred to me, God, wouldn't it be great to tell him war was something we used to do,
Sure.
So in that, somewhere in there, I was working on that lick, and I came up with, I think I just did, I did this, The end of war, right, like that. Oh, that's nice. So, okay. So, what am I going to do with it, So that's where the seed of that came from.
All right, I'll tell you what, let's take a listen, and we'll come back and talk some more, okay?
Sure.
All right, everybody, check this out. Here we go.
Used to believe it was all human nature, and there wasn't too much you could do. War is inevitable, that's what they said, and everyone thought it was true. So we blasted away with our bombs and our guns, till smoke finally cleared and the fighting was done, only to find out that no one had won. Way back in the some guy went so far to say try to imagine no heaven, no hell, and no God, no king, no country, not even possessions. We all thought he was asking a lot, so we kept on fighting for all of this stuff, but it never turned out to be reason enough to justify losing people we loved. Yeah, that's what we did before the end of war. The end of war. Now I cannot recall how it actually happened, but it wasn't by some grand decree. It's like trying to explain why nobody saw it once everyone started to see that the world was much smaller than ever before, and over there wasn't so far anymore. What we did unto others washed up on our shore. The answer is hard to ignore. The end of war. The end of war. The end of war. The end of war. The end of
Well, thank you for sharing that song for the listeners tonight.
Sure, man. My pleasure.
What do you and Ann have going on this year? You guys going to tour? Any exciting things you want to tell us on the show?
We're not doing a tour. I don't know enough people at this moment to have it. I mean, I can take a tour. I could drive to some, uncharted city and say we're playing, but I don't think anyone would be there. So, I don't really feel like we're ready for that yet. We're just trying to build a local following in this general area, which is, the kind of the New England seacoast area. And, if we can get that big enough and start making it like a regional tour, we'll do that. But right now we're still very much in the local building phase.
Are you reading any good books that you want to share with us?
Gosh, I just read an interesting book, strangely enough, called Horse. And I'll tell you, I forget who wrote it. I'm sorry, but I'm not really into horses at all. But I found that it was kind of dealing with the history of a horse and racism and all this stuff. And I just read that. And I also read a really bizarre book called Emigrants, which is about people who emigrated from Germany before or the very beginning of World War II, which sounds really dry. And I kept thinking, I'm going to put this book down and quit. But I managed to read the whole thing. It was strangely interesting.
So one of the questions I like to ask a lot of the guests is about scams and being ripped off. Do you want to warn us about one that you might have fallen for or something that's out there?
God knows I've been scammed. I can't remember exactly by whom and what, but I guess I would tell you this. If it's too good to be true, it's probably not true. I talked to one guy and he said, if you work with me, you sign a confidential agreement and we don't discuss anyone's numbers with anything. And that guy was a real scam. He's somewhere out in California. And someone called me later and said, hey, we're working with this guy. I'm checking the reference. And I was honest. I said, do not work with this guy. I mean, it's just, you're just going to take your money and, so it's really hard. There's a whole industry, feasting on the middle of music, the people that are trying to do something, but they're not recording artist, record label yet kind of thing. And, they tell you what you want to hear. And of course, everyone loves your music and it's tough.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Tell us about a musical risk you took in your life that paid off.
Basically, I started out just wanting to be a guitar player. I didn't really imagine myself a singer or a songwriter. And I wrote a song kind of as, in my mind, as a joke, and I was in a blues band at the time. And we played that song once, or, we made it part of our regular set. And someone came up to me and said, hey, what was that one song, And I told him, oh, it's a song I wrote, And he's like, well, that was really good. You should write some more. So, I wrote a couple more. I had like 2 or 3, and they seemed to be going over well. And I don't know, but I just made a decision right then. If I'm going to do this, if I want to write songs, just start your own band, write songs. Even if you don't have enough, just start, And that's what I did. And literally, I wrote like 20 songs in the next 2 months because it was time for them to come out, I suppose. And, so the risk was forget about bands, just take a chance and do your own thing. I had to find people. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but somehow, you get there. So do your own thing is what I'd say. Go for it.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, what advice would you give someone that's just starting? I guess that would be it.
Yeah, but I mean, make sure you've got, God, it's so hard to start because, I mean, I know when I went to the studio the first time, I had no idea what was going on. And I figure, well, these guys are here, they're musicians, they know what's happening. And my advice to anybody would be trust what you hear and what you think. Because even though people are musicians, and maybe great musicians, they don't necessarily know what a good song is. And they don't necessarily know how things should necessarily be mixed, So I wish I'd stuck to my guns earlier because I just figured, I don't know, who am I to tell these people, Yeah. And I think believe in yourself. If it doesn't sound right, don't do it. Don't trust anyone. I mean, I'm not saying don't trust people who are good, but I mean, if it doesn't sound right to you, put your foot down and get it your way, because at least then that you got what you wanted. And if you don't like it then, at least instead of I didn't get what I wanted and I don't like it, so now where am I,
Yeah, that's true. I've been through the same thing. Sometimes you trust people because you think you suck, and then 10 years later, you're like, wait a minute. Yeah, I was better than that guy, but if you don't have the confidence, sometimes you don't know that.
Well, and I didn't. So, I mean, I excuse myself, but, we're asking what advice we can give someone starting out. And,
Yeah.
Of course, it's easier to find things out now. You can Google it and read it, find out some stuff. So,
yeah. You have any surprising hobbies that nobody would know?
No, I don't actually.
Okay.
My hobby I worked for years and years as a structural engineer. That was my business. And instead of waiting to retire and do music, I did it the entire time while I was being a structural engineer. So it was, let's put it this way, I didn't sleep a lot for 20 years. I was really, really busy. But now that I've, so-called retired, I still do a little work. But I'm basically full-time music, and I don't even know how I ever did it before because I'm busy all day long on this stuff. So.
All right, man, give us, where can people buy your stuff, stream it, find out about you?
Well, probably the best place, of course, we have, an Instagram page. We have a Low Stakes Band Facebook page. There is I guess Bandcamp has our little EP on it of acoustic songs. And all that stuff is linkable through our website, which is lowstakesband.com. It couldn't be more straightforward. So if you look there, I think you'd find out a lot of stuff.
I want to thank you for being on the show tonight, Derek.
Sarantos, thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
You're welcome, man. To all the listeners out there, thank you for spending a little bit of your precious time with the two of us tonight. We appreciate it, and we hope your unique story gets heard around the world, too. My name is Sarantos. Please join me every single Tuesday evening on Reality Radio 101 to hear all these amazing stories and these fascinating behind-the-scenes success stories right here on The Songwriter Show. Have a great night. I love you all.
day leads to a rainbow. Not every hurricane is meant for you. Bad luck won't last forever. Believe it or not, happy will find its way to you. We all have something we think we need to hide. Being human means we always feel the need to feed the pride. Let it all go, starting over. It's okay if you have to. Starting over. Doesn't mean life is through. Starting over. It's something you can do. Trust me, I've been there too. I didn't live my dreams because I was too busy living my fears. Till I picked up my head out of the water and learned to breathe again. And so will you. Not every swing leads to a hit. Not every heartache is meant for you. Roses come in many colors, but they all have thorns. You try and good things will happen for you. We all have something we think we need to hide. Being human means we always feel the need to feed the pride. Let it all go, starting over. It's okay if you have to. Starting over. Doesn't mean life is through. Starting over. It's something you can do. Trust me, I've been there too. I didn't live my dreams because I was too busy living my fears. Till I picked my head out of the water, learned to breathe again, and so will you. This too shall pass. Oh, just let it all go. Starting over, it's not the end of the world. You got this.
Thank you for listening to The Songwriter Show. To keep the momentum going, head over to www.songwritershow.com and join our free music community of artists, songwriters, and producers. That's www.songwritershow.com.